Hello, Form 5 Biology Chapter 1. This is your video number 6 and your notes page number 6 and 7. But now you are on page number 7. A very important title. The most important title for this Chapter 1 for exam 在考试里面它最厉害了 Secondary growth at the stems. 树干茎它怎样进行 secondary growth to increase the diameter of the stem 给它的 diameter 变得更大 So turn to page number 7 first 转去第7面先 follow me Okay Secondary growth at the stems 茎怎样继续的成长进行 secondary growth Okay So before we start further, okay, we identify the structure first. 我们看那些结构先来 So after the primary growth, this is what we have, the stems. The cell divide, the differentiate become the cell, become the new cells. So 这边就是 what happened after the primary growth? Primary growth 刚刚完成 You're going to start another process called secondary growth. So what are the structure that's available just after primary growth? Okay, between the xylem tissue and the phloem tissue, we're having a layer of tissue 之间呢有一层的组织 Xylem 向里面送水的 phloem 向外面送食物的 Between the xylem and phloem tissue, we're having the lateral meristem that we call cambium tissue. So 这一个就叫 cambium tissue, the center between the xylem and phloem tissue. 中间那一边 cambium tissue. So inside this is the xylem tissue or primary xylems. 什么叫 primary xylems? Xylem tissue just after the primary growth. So we just call primary xylem. 第一次成长变成的 xylem tissue. 分化过后形成的 xylem tissue. Next, and this will be primary phloem tissue 啦。Primary growth 形成的 phloem tissue, so called primary phloem tissue. Okay? And now the cortex 就是它旁边的那些 ground tissue 形成的 cortex 大致上也就是木呢不是很木呢暖的木 And outside we're having the epidermis white皮 In other meanings the stem still very young very soft 它还是很年轻 very soft 外面暖的 So at these times at this moment the young shoot 这些年轻的幼苗它的茎呢它外面只有一层薄薄的 epidermis 外层组织 epidermis Okay So now it starts the process called secondary growth. 刚刚开始 So what happened during the secondary growth? 什么事情发生呢 Cambium tissue actively divide by mitosis. And after they divide, all the cambium tissue finally they will join together. 它们就会结合起来 After they join together, they become cambium ring. 它就变成了一个圈 And this is what we call cambium ring. 这个圈就叫 cambium ring. So at the beginning of the secondary growth, cambium tissue join together, actively divide by mitosis, forming the cambium ring. 变成了这个圈就叫 cambium ring. Okay? And next, 记得at the center of the stem, 在茎的中间呢 normally we call pit. Or what is mean by pit? 木髓骨髓的骨髓这样子的木不过它是木来的 OK 木髓就是木的中间pit OK So cambium ring will be formed 它会形成来写故事 Secondary growth begins 什么时候 secondary growth 开始呢 Cambium tissue undergo the mitosis and finally join together become cambium ring So when the vascular cambiums, the meristematic cells, okay, between the primary xylem and primary phloem begin to divide actively through mitosis. Okay, 就是 vascular cambium tissue 一直分解，结合变成一个圈，这个圈呢就叫 cambium ring. Okay. And next. As a result, the vascular cambium in the vascular bundle join to form a cambium ring. 它就形成了一个圈 cambium ring. And what happened to this cambium ring? 这个 cambium ring 叫什么呢 Okay, 来 It continued to divide and produce a new tissue 产生新的组织了 or new cell. Okay? Or what is a new cell? secondary xylem 底数，第二次了的。primary 的叫 primary xylems, but after the cambium ring is formed, cambium ring going to divide to produce secondary xylem 底数，它产生了新的一层 secondary xylem 底数。And outside is going to produce a secondary phloem 底数。So secondary xylem 底数 going to push inward 推进去 towards the beach， 推进去 beach 中间。But secondary phloem 底数 going to push outwards 推出外面 towards what?Towards the epidermis 推出外面就叫 epidermis. Okay? So after 1 year, maybe half year, 1 year, depends on the branch. 就看那一棵树了。So 看这个图片，那 it becomes something like this. 1-2年过后，它成长了，越来越肥了，它的树干越来越硬了，对不对？它有什么新东西呢？ So for this circle, or for this circle we call cambium ring.Cambium ring making the new tissue called secondary xylem tissue. And the secondary xylem tissue will be pushed inwards towards the beach, 朝着木的中间 beach 那边去，所以这边叫 beach 中间。At the same time, the cambium ring also produces a phloem tissue. 它也产生了 secondary phloem tissue. 什么叫 secondary phloem tissue? 它就是 secondary growth 产生的新的 phloem tissue 啦。And the secondary phloem tissue going to push outwards towards the epidermis, 推出外面。Okay, secondary phloems.And whereas the primary xylem tissue 以前的呢，那 they will be go push inward 被人家推进去了。So primary xylem move inwards, primary phloem move outward 它推出来了。Okay, and now 还有一些小改变。So under the epidermis, they're going to produce another new layer of meristem tissue. 它会产生新的一层的 meristem tissue， 就是分解组织。这边就是我们所谓的 God cambium。God cambium 软木的 cambium 它会制造新的一些木在外面皮的下面 OK 不过暂时它的皮刚刚要形成了 So God cambium form beneath the epidermis 外层的下面出现了另外一层的 cambium 我这边叫 God cambium 它会产生树皮的 OK God cambium form beneath the epidermis 明白所以现在有两种 cambium 这个叫 vascular cambium 这边就叫 God cambium 了树皮的下面So 什么事情发生？来 So then the cell in the cambium ring divide. Cambium ring 的细胞分解 forming secondary xylem on the inside of the vascular cambium 推进里面 and secondary phloems push to outside 推出外面 Secondary xylem 推里面 secondary phloem tissue 推去外面 Okay.And next, and what happened after another 1 or 2 years? 1-2年过后，什么事情会发生呢？那 cambium ring 躲在哪里呢 ？Okay, cambium ring it should be this layer. 这一条叫 cambium ring. I label for you. 我帮你 label. 这一层如果没有错，这一层 but nobody label anymore. 这个就是我们的 cambium ring. Cambium ring.Okay, cambium ring. 这个叫什么 ？Secondary phloem tissue. Secondary phloem tissue. 这个一层呢叫 secondary phloem tissue, but nobody label for you. 没有人帮你 label. Never mind, I label for you. So this layer we call secondary phloem tissue. 它越来越大了 secondary phloem tissue.Okay, and where's the primary phloems? Primary phloem 跑去哪里呢？那 here 这个以前的 primary phloems 有 label, never mind, slow 慢慢来。那这个就是以前制造的 primary phloem tissue。But now it become almost invisible, 几乎被人家看不出了，对不对 ？Primary phloem tissue, secondary xylems, and where's the primary xylem tissue? Primary xylem 在哪里呢 ？All the diagram will be different, but almost the same 呢。So 你会的始终你会看就对了。So primary xylem tissue. And now, so when the tree become more mature, 它越来越 mature 的时候，它有新的东西出现了。This layer 就叫 God cambium。God cambium produce a new God cell， 它制造新的那些细胞 ，and the cell going to push outward， 推出外面。And the cell going to become old and shade， 太老，然后凋谢，so that's why finally 它就变成我们所谓的那些干干的树皮了。OK， 就是树皮 ，and the old gog will be called bark 的那些老的 gog 就变成了树皮掉下来粗的树皮，明白吗 ？So gog， 要不然这边呢可以称为 bark 了，树皮了。够老的时候，外面就会出现树皮老脱落的啦。So as a secondary growth continue to take place over the years, layer of secondary xylem accumulate, producing what is called OK 一年再一年呢 secondary xylem push inward, and finally they accumulate 它们收集起来 become wood 它就变成了我们所谓的 wood 就是木哦。So wood actually is what 木是什么东西来的呢 Wood actually is made out of secondary xylem tissue 啦。它就是 secondary xylem tissue 形成的，明白吗 ？So we call wood. What is wood？ 不要管它先，暂时 wood 不在我们的 syllabus。OK，for what？ For support 啦。OK， beside the wood， 除了变成木以外，还有什么东西呢？来 ，the cork cambium beneath the epidermis dy。cork cambium 在外皮的下面的 cork cambium dy actively to form after cork。And the inner secondary cortex 它形成了 after cork 就是 cork cell 一直推出外面 and also inner secondary cortex 就是里面的轴里面的树皮啦，比较暖的这种叫暖木 cortex cork 暖木，里面的木比较硬的叫 wood， 外面比较暖的叫 cork。 OK， so mature cork cell 成熟的 cork cell are dead and have the thick wall impregnant with the subbariums不重要的 ，OK， and make the cork waterproof。So 这些 cork 越来越多，它是防水的。So cork actually is waterproof 的。So what is the function of this waterproof cork? To prevent the water evaporation from the bark， 就是防止水呢从它树皮的表面上呢蒸发掉。And cork layer form a protective bark on the surface. So at the end, cork 越来越多，它越来越老，越来越干了，就变成了 bark 树皮了。So they can minimize the water loss from the plant. 它们就保护着树的树干，不要给水流失了。这种就叫 bark. Okay? So this is what happened after the secondary growth. 有树皮，树皮的下面有 cork， 就是暖木，暖木的下面有 cortex， 这里面有更多的木，然后中间叫 beach. Okay? 中间叫 beach. Okay, repeat with another diagram. Okay, so at the beginning, just after the primary growth, plant having the 中间这一层 we call vascular cambium. The vascular cambiums, okay, so just after the primary growth, we having the primary xylem tissue, 向着里面。And primary front tissue facing outwards 向着外面 and outside we're having the thin epidermis 外面呢有 epidermis 外层罢了 epidermis 这是刚刚年轻的时候幼苗 so after 1 year 2 years 1 year 2 years vascular cambium join together become the cambium ring 它结合起来形成了 cambium ring 这边没有 ring 也不用紧 you can add vascular cambium, they will join together, become cambium ring, 变成了一个圈。And the cell on the cambium ring actively divide 一直在分解 produce the secondary xylem tissue that push inwards, push the primary xylem tissue towards a beach, 朝着中间那边去。So this is the primary xylem tissue. So vascular cambium or cambium ring also produce a what? Secondary front tissue. Secondary front tissue that push the primary front tissue outwards towards the epidermis. 推出去，朝着外皮那边推出去。And under the epidermis, it comes another layer of meristem. 来了另外一层的 meristem， 这一层就叫 cork cambium. OK， 它也是一个圈的 cork cambium. So cork cambium going to produce a cork cells and they push outwards, also push inward, become cortex. 然后 cork cell they're going to become mature and become shed， 然后凋谢掉，那 shed of epidermis 就变成了我们的所谓的树皮了，明白了没有 ？So this is what we call secondary growth for the stem. 所以植物的树干越来越肥，就是这样的原因。 set for this title and how is the exam weight 单讲我们搞定全部的东西 so see you in the next video secondary goal at the road for the road bye bye